Supergirl releases this weekend on June 26th. And I know you might be thinking, oh boy, here we go again. James Gunn's making another Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But I would hold off on that conclusion, at least until the end of this video, and you'll see why. The general consensus is still pretty positive. David Crow from Den of Geek said this after test screenings. It's the superhero movie I've missed, a poignant story with lots of emotion, and Milly Alcock owns this role and will absolutely change our idea of Supergirl forever. This iteration of Supergirl falls under James Gunn's DCU cinematic universe, which started on the silver screen last summer with Superman 2025, which featured David Corenswet as Superman, who will cameo in the upcoming film. This Supergirl, however, is not written nor directed by James Gunn. It is rather written by Nogueira, sorry if I butchered that, and directed by Craig Gillespie. Supergirl will also star Jason Momoa as Lobo, and I think it's pretty safe to say that the fan reaction was pretty positive when that news broke. Jason Momoa was born to play Lobo, says Russ Wilhelm on X. The runtime of the movie is about an hour and 48 minutes, which is 25 minutes shorter than the original cut after 3 recuts to land on the final test screening, which resulted in one of the highest numbers of test screening for a modern film. It's also worth noting that they cycled through 3 different composers before landing on the right soundtrack. After all that testing and re-editing, hopefully they landed on something that we're all happy with. Trailers for Supergirl started dropping a few weeks ago, and after all the hype for the Jason Momoa Lobo reveal died down, the press tour started and a few interviews were published. An unfortunate series of events led to the overall decline in estimated box office sales. This all started back in March when Milly Alcock was featured in an interview for Vanity Fair, in which she said that we, fans, I'm assuming, have this weird ownership over women's bodies, which I'm assuming was calling attention to the controversy and uproar from fan bases when a beloved character is cast by a new actor or actress. Following that first interview, Milly Alcock was featured in a second interview back in May with Variety Cover, in which she said that she hasn't watched a lot of female superhero movies such as Black Widow, Wonder Woman, or Captain Marvel, to which she said that maybe that's a bad thing that she should lie about. In the same interview, she mentioned that she's received some backlash online, which commonly comes from these fake Instagram and social media accounts that oftentimes have a bio that says something like "Dad of 4 Christian," and Fox News took that headline and their fan base went with it. This all reached a boiling point when pro-female superhero comic content creator Grace Randolph made a comment about the whole situation, saying that if she were Milly's publicist, she would say, "Just stop talking, for the love of God." This was probably in reference to the box office estimates seemingly declining after every interview that Milly was a part of. At the height of the controversy, Lois and Clark actor Dean Cain posted memes online mocking Milly Alcock's appearance, which resulted in an uproar from the DC fan base. And at this viral point in time, Zack Snyder also added fuel to the fire by promoting some images of Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill as Batman and Superman from his Snyderverse movies. And this all just kind of culminated in a huge fan war that took place online. And most recently, at their press tour stop in Brazil, Milly Alcock was interviewed, in which she said that she reads Supergirl as a bisexual character and that she's honored by the queer icon framing. As we speak, the box office estimates have dropped about $15 million from their peak at $55 million, and we're currently sitting right about $39 million. Hopefully all this controversy doesn't stop the movie from performing well. And on a somewhat lighter note, Milly Alcock isn't the only source for all this controversy. A lot of users online have claimed criticism on the popcorn bucket that has been announced, mainly concerns with the capacity of popcorn that it can actually hold. Ryan Ramblings on X said it best when he said, "Not to be too critical, but that barely qualifies as a bucket." If you're not chronically online like I am, you may not have noticed the sheer amount of collaborations and partnerships that DC has put out for the Supergirl movie. Everything from makeup lines at Ulta to clothing lines at Hot Topic and Reebok, and even a high-end fashion line with David Koma. DC has even partnered up with Synergy, Kombucha, KFC, Cold Stone Creamery, and Insomnia Cookies, just so you can inject a little bit of Krypton in your diet while you're at it. On a slightly more expected note, they are planning to release several action figures and toys based around the movie. Starting off, we have Mattel releasing a Supergirl Barbie figure, and then McFarlane has a highly anticipated wave of theatrical collection figures that are coming out, including Supergirl, who comes in 3 variants, with the standard edition, the theatrical collector edition, and the gold label edition. There's also Lobo, as well as his Spacehog, and there's also Krim of the Yellow Hills. McFarlane is also offering a life-size replica hook prop for Lobo, which is a pretty sweet pickup if you're planning on cosplaying him anytime soon. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is based on a comic series by the same name that was released back in 2021. It was written by Tom King with art by Bilquis Ivy, and without too many spoilers, it essentially details Kara leaving Earth and going on a mission across the galaxy that, you know, kind of revolves around a lot of themes of revenge, friendship, guilt, trauma, loneliness. It's pretty deep stuff, honestly. Spoiler alert for anyone who knows absolutely nothing about the plot and wants to keep it that way. The story essentially involves Kara leaving Earth, and she meets this young girl whose family was murdered by Krim of the Yellow Hills. And the story just follows them traveling across the galaxy in seek of revenge, basically. James Gunn has responded to questions about sticking to the source material. Specifically, in an interview with Variety, he said that the movie doesn't follow the comic religiously, but there is a lot of the core material there. And at the end of the day, it's a space fantasy, so it's kind of like Guardians, but it's based on the book by Tom King. Before you call me a liar that James Gunn is making another Guardians movie again, let's remember that he's not actually writing this one. In fact, he has made a public comment about just that topic exactly. He essentially said that he didn't know Supergirl would be the second movie in the DCU, but that Anna wrote a script that was amazing, and that there are other scripts in the works, but this one was really good. To wrap things up, I'll just throw my 2 cents out there. I think DC and the DCU are in really good hands right now. And whether you don't like a particular actor, actress, writer, producer, director, it's important to remember that there's a whole team of nerds over there just like you, just like me, that are working really hard to make something really cool to share with all of us. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna watch it in theaters because I want to experience everything the movie has to offer at its best for myself before the internet tears it apart. And I hope you will too, because nothing's gonna be perfect. You can't expect it to. If you do, you're not gonna enjoy the movie, obviously. But if you go into it expecting a fresh perspective on a classic character, a new take on a renowned story, and freaking Jason Momoa as Lobo, I think we'll all enjoy it well enough. I'm Danny, this has been Variant Coverage. Thanks for watching.